If that's not an Oedipus complex, I don't know what is. Hey nerds, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on the 50 Shades trilogy. So, yep. Y'all voted on this, so here it is. But before we get into that, please leave a like. It really helps me and I appreciate it. Thank you. Let's get into this. So this past week I rewatched the entire trilogy of 50 Shades of Grey, and it just gets worse each time that I watch it. Especially now that I'm older, I don't know how this was received in a positive way. Before I get into my thoughts about the trilogy, I just want to go over my really weird history with 50 Shades of Grey. So if you're new here, you don't know this, but I'll tell you. So when I was 13, I was exposed to romance novels and erotica very early, too early, but I fell down the rabbit hole at the age of 13. And one of the first books that I read in the genre was 50 Shades of Grey. And then I ended up reading all of the other books in the series, except for the fourth one. I think there's a fourth one that's supposed to be from Christian's point of view. I don't know if it exists, but if it does, I haven't read that one. And I've said this before too, but I feel like I'm not the only one who's had that experience, because some of y'all were on Wattpad reading some freaky stuff at a young age too. So I feel like I'm not alone in that. But the problem was, you know, me being a 13-year-old girl going through puberty, I thought this was the most sexiest, most scandalous, most romantic thing you could read about on the face of the earth. Boy, was I wrong. Who's gonna tell her? Who's gonna tell her? Who's gonna tell 13-year-old Talia that this is not what you need? And I watched all the movies at a young age too, you know, as they were released. Now that I'm older and I have a sense of what is healthy and what is toxic and what is right and what is wrong, I can't stand these movies or these books. And I realize that so much of what we have today in the genre, and most of it is dog shit, stems from freaking 50 Shades. I'm talking about 365 days. That's literally 50 Shades if it were overseas. I'm talking about the shit that Colleen Hoover writes. All her shit is garbage. And it's giving tinges of 50 Shades of Grey with whatever she writes. Stuff from Wattpad, literally after. I don't know if I'm saying that because 50 Shades literally started as a fan fiction, but it's influenced fan fiction and romance and erotica novels that we have today, and it didn't contribute in a positive way, mainly because of the tropes that it exhibits. Yeah, so 50 Shades has a lot of harmful and toxic tropes in it that I do not like. Now, I know I keep bringing this up in literally every other video that I post, but my romance trope video, I go into it there, but I'm not gonna send you all the way back. I'll tell you here. So in this book slash movie, there are lots of tropes that are perpetuated, and the first one that I want to get into, the obvious one, is the good girl bad boy trope. You have Anna, who is like this shy, innocent, mousy thing who knows nothing about nothing. She's a virgin in the first movie. She's literally like this virginal angel. And then you have Christian, who's like this eligible bachelor who has like a dark, mysterious secret that he engages in BDSM, and he's a sex god and all that stuff. So these two get together and they explore that world as a pair. And I feel like that trope has been recycled and reused in a lot of novels, especially some more recent ones. And that brings me to my next trope with Christian specifically, is like his character, the classic toxic, domineering, you know, male character who's emotionally stunted. I think at one point in the movie he goes, "I don't make love, I fuck." I'm like, okay. And he has like that really weird, possessive, scary, stalker-ish like thing about him where he's like, "You're mine, you're mine." He's looking at what's mine. He's trying to take what's mine. Like, she's not an object, sir. She's she's not the last toy in the toy box. Like, what is happening? He's so toxic and protective. People say, oh, he's just being protective. No, this man literally has trackers in her phone. He knows where she's at all times of the day. That's scary. That's stalker behavior. That's very toxic. And I can't look at another man without him getting upset or jealous. He has a short temper. It's just not appetizing, not my cup of tea. Then there's also the past trauma trope, and this one goes deep. So at the age of 4, Christian's birth mother died from an overdose. And that has obviously affected him well into his adult life and his sex life. Ugh, this is really bad. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm talking about this. So Christian has had other submissives before Anna. If you like read the book and you've seen the movie, you know about all of this. If you haven't, I'm about to spoil it. I pretty much spoiled it a little bit already, but you're already here. Might as well stay. But yeah. Christian has had like 15 submissives before he got to Anna, and they all have one thing in common. They all look alike, or they have similar physical features about them. All of his subs have had brunette hair and blue eyes. You want to know why? Because his birth mom, who is deceased by the way, had brunette hair and blue eyes. Each woman that he has had sex with looked like his mother. If that's not an Oedipus complex, I don't know what is. Like, that is a whole nother level. That's a whole nother plane of mommy issues. Like, what? You like to have sex with women who look like your deceased mother? And here's the thing. He told Anna about this in the second movie, I'm pretty sure, and she stayed around. She stuck around. Another part of the past trauma trope that 50 Shades goes into is how Christian got into BDSM in the first place. So when Christian was 16 years old, his neighbor / his mother's best friend, Mrs. Robinson, came on to him. She was the one who took advantage of this boy and showed him everything that he knows now about BDSM and sex. And they was messing around till he was like, what, 21 or something? I don't know. But yes, this grown-ass woman was on this 16-year-old boy, a minor. Now Anna's dumb. She's a little dumb when it comes to some things, like staying away from Christian and not ever talking to him again. But this is where I agreed with her. Okay? She agreed that it was so messed up that this woman abused this man when he was like a minor. And I think she was the only one out of the two of them that saw the fault in that. He was like, oh, she just taught me how to fuck. And she was like, she abused you? And he was like, eh. And he just shakes it off like, eh, whatever. Like, it, you know, she's a thing of the past. We're still on the past trauma trope, and that leads to another thing. So in the second movie, they're getting ready for this ball, right? And so he's like, let me take you to this salon. Let me like get your hair done. I know the owner. She'll like take good care of you. The owner of the salon is Mrs. Robinson, the woman who taught him about BDSM. And so Anna realizes this, and she's like, what kind of sick game is this? I'm like, yes. Now she's starting to wake up. But then she doesn't leave this man because there wouldn't be a third movie. She's like, why would you take me to the woman who abused you as a child? Why would you take me there? Do you take all your subs there? And I was like, yeah, did you take all of your subs there? It's like, okay, now you're doing too much. You're taking your subs, who look exactly like your mother, by the way, to the woman who sexually abused you as a minor to get their hair done. How did this man not get arrested? How did this man not end up in somebody's jail? And then we also get a surprise in the third movie, spoiler alert, that exhibits a trope that I didn't think was gonna happen, but we get the pregnancy trope. You know, the trope where like the main character falls pregnant out of nowhere, and then the main love interest like gets upset and he's like, I don't know how to raise a kid. I'm not gonna be a good dad. He freaks out. That is exactly what happened in the third movie. Yes, they exhibited the pregnancy trope, and it was awful. Because Christian was like, I'm not ready to share you yet. Like, oh my gosh, are you that much of a petulant child that you don't want to share her with anyone. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, bro? You want to know what Christian does the minute that he finds out that Anna's pregnant? He goes off on her. He storms out of the kitchen, goes God knows where. He's gone for hours. He comes back drunk as a skunk. And then it is revealed that he was in the comfort of Mrs. Robinson, the woman who taught him everything that he knows. And rightfully so, this pissed Anna off. Because why would you go to your mistress who, you know, did what she did to you and I needed you? That man ran out so fast. And then, of course, he was trying to pick up his slack, talking about, you know, I made a mistake. Yes, you made a very big mistake. And this is another instance where I was not agreeing with Anna, but I was on her side, because she was like, Christian, you said I was gonna choose this baby over you, and if I have to, I would choose this baby over anybody, because that's what good parents do. I was like, that's what I'm talking about. Finally you said something smart. Because what do you mean? What do you mean? I don't need you. I'm not defending Christian, but I understand his fears of becoming a parent because he didn't have good ones like of his own in the beginning of his life. But it's just like, you go off on on this girl, you go off on your wife. Oh, they get married, by the way. You go off on your wife and, you know, you leave her, you come back, and then you just hurt her feelings. It's just like, oh my gosh. I think that's all of the tropes, like the big ones that stuck out to me. My next problem with this movie is the acting. Oh my gosh. Back then, I did not see the issues. I didn't see it. But the thing that stuck out to me the most is like, it was the line delivery. It was like it was very line reader-ish, because there was like no emotion. There was no emotion, especially from Jamie Dornan, who plays Christian. He could try to, like, you know, show the emotion of anger on his face. It wouldn't move. It wouldn't do anything. Like, yes, his voice was raised in in anger, but I did not see that on his face.
Where the fuck have you been? Don't be ridiculous.
I saw you.
You had a gun, Anna. I would have done anything to subdue her.
And then whenever it was like, you know, one of those scenes, it was just unappetizing. This is supposed to be a steamy BDSM, you know, spicy movie. All of the sex scenes were like very... Speaking of the sex scenes, this irks me so much. He does not take off his pants. I think he only took off his pants fully like 2 times in the entire franchise. But what he will do is he will unzip his pants, shimmy it down a centimeter, and then have at it. First of all, do you not think about how that's chafing Anna? Like, is that not, that must be very uncomfortable for her, especially if you're wearing jeans and you're not taking them all the way off. She gonna get a rash. She gonna get carpet burn. I don't know. And then on top of that, why is he so stiff with it? You're supposed to be an expert on this stuff. Don't you think you should be doing a better job? You should be more flexible. It was just like, I don't know. It was as sexy as a cardboard box, okay? I think that really took me out of it, because like, why are your pants still all the way on and you're like literally screwing each other? You know what? And the bad acting made it even worse when it got to like the spicy scenes. Do y'all remember, if y'all seen it in the second movie, where they were in the elevator and he was like, you know, doing stuff with his hands to her? Okay, first of all, the faces that she was making, she was not doing a good job of hiding it, and then her faces were awful. I'm sorry, Dakota Johnson, I love you, but those faces were just bad. And then she was over here nibbling on her purse, trying to like keep calm, and then he was talking about don't do it. Everyone was having the reaction of, oh my god, they're gonna get caught. And my only thought was, they don't hear that. They don't hear it. No one hears it. We're just gonna pretend that we're not hearing this right now in the elevator. Yeah, man, I don't know. The soundtracks. Now listen, I just discovered this philosophy like a few years ago, but sometimes, not all the time, if the movie is bad, the soundtrack be banging. But this trilogy, I'm not gonna lie, this trilogy had some bangers, okay? First, second, and third movie. Y'all remember how popular Love Me Like You Do was when this movie came out and earned it by The Weeknd? I know Ellie Goulding and The Weeknd are still spending that 50 Shades money. They have to be, because those songs were so good. And I don't know if people know this, but Sia was a big part of the soundtracks too. That song, Salted Wound. Oh, that song, I still listen to that song to this day, and it's just something so ethereal and like, I don't know, it makes you feel like you're floating. I don't know. That's how I feel when I hear the song. The second movie had most of the bangers. Ooh, I forgot about in the first one, like in the first opening credits of the first movie, that version of I Put a Spell on You. Wow. And Haunted by Beyonce. Now I see why she withdrew from the other two movies, because she was like, I don't want to be attached to this. But Haunted, ooh. And the Crazy in Love version, like, oh my goodness. 2015 was a time, oh my gosh. Love me like you do, love me like you do. Yeah, but in the second movie, you had I Don't Want to Live Forever, Zayn and Taylor Swift. You had Bomb Biddy Bomb, Nick Jonas and Nicki Minaj. You had Not Afraid Anymore by Halsey. Helium by Sia. Sia was doing her thing in this soundtrack, okay? I do like No Running From Me. There ain't no running from me. I don't remember the music that much from the third movie. I do remember the one that's like, All Good Girls Go to Heaven or something, Bad Boys Bring Heaven to You. That song, I like that song. Never Tear Us Apart by Bishop Briggs, I like that song. Yeah, these soundtracks in these movies were pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, I will give them that. Now speaking of music and scoring, I got a bone to pick with these movies. There are some scenes, like love scenes, where certain songs should have been placed, or better songs, that is. Now the one exemption I will say is Salted Wound in the first movie when Anna was giving her V card to Christian. But in the second movie, oh, we had so many missed opportunities. I really do feel like, this is probably an unpopular opinion, but I feel like I Don't Want to Live Forever should have been in a love scene. Now, it was cool on the boat scene, but let me tell you why. Do y'all have that thing, and this is for all like my music lovers, do y'all have that thing where you're listening to a song and you can envision yourself like in a music video, and like you like have the whole plot from start to finish like planned out in your head? Or is that just me? Anyway, that's what happens when I listen to music. But when I listened to that song, I was like, oh, this could be in a love scene, but instead they want to be driving the boat and stuff. I feel like that should have been used in the love scene, but that's just my unpopular opinion, I guess. Long story short, love the soundtracks, hate the movies. I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, yeah. Now I remember this vaguely, but when the first 50 Shades came out, the BDSM community was in an uproar. Now apparently this was a misrepresentation of the culture. It was shown in a very negative light. I guess this movie was portraying a very harsh, manipulative, toxic environment in borderline abusive environment of the BDSM world. And the people who actually do that in real life, they're like, it's not all like this. Like, this is not it. Like, this is not what we do. Now, I don't dibble and dabble in that. I'm not in the community, so I don't know. But if you are, and you're here watching this, your insight, I would love to have that. Because even I know that this is not what it's supposed to be. Like, I don't dibble and dabble in it, and I'm not in the community, but I could recognize now at my grown-ass age, I can recognize that this is not right. This is not how this is supposed to be portrayed. Yes, I remember people were in an uproar, especially those who were in the BDSM community. They was angry. They were like, we don't act like this. Not all doms are like this. Some doms are, but the majority of us, we don't do that. This is a side note, but can we talk about how random it is that Rita Ora is in these films? Rita, who do you owe money? Who did you owe money? Who were you doing this? Were you doing a favor for somebody? I don't know. I feel like Rita Ora was out of place. I don't know why. Yeah, but overall, I'm glad that I don't have the same opinion about this movie slash book that I did back then. Granted, I shouldn't even have been consuming this material back then, but hey, what are you gonna do? I rewatched this for y'all because y'all voted on this. But yeah, those were my thoughts on 50 Shades of Grey, like the entire trilogy. I can do without it. It's not my favorite thing in the world. There are worse things out there, but this is pretty bad. I don't know how I tolerated this. Like, you know, upon first viewing, I didn't know any better. I wasn't even supposed to be watching this shit. I'm just surprised that it's gotten this far of a reach, that it's influenced so many things that came after it. So that concludes our... Oh my god, excuse me. So that concludes our video for today. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like. If you want to share your opinions about the 50 Shades trilogy, let loose in the comments, please. And subscribe if you want to. I'll see y'all on the next go round. Okay, bye.